$750 stimulus handouts. Let's have a look. Good evening, everyone. Florian Heise here with my evening stein of coffee, and I thought we would have a look at this article that tells us a little bit more about the stimulus package that the government is proposing to save our economy. We'll see. We will see. It's been an interesting day today. If you've been following the market, it took a little cut. Just a little cut. So let's have a look at this, guys. The stimulus package includes a $750 cash payment, support for apprentices, and small businesses. So the amount, the $750, is more than we thought this morning from the initial information we were told. The support for apprentices has been confirmed, and the support for small businesses. So more than 6 million Aussies will get cash payments of $750 as part of the government's $17.6 billion virus stimulus package. $17.6 billion. More than 6 million Australians will be getting a check. A check? No, they won't. They won't get a check. It'll be digital anyway. For $750 as part of the Morrison government's $17.6 billion stimulus package. Households receiving government benefits, including pensioners, those getting New Start, carers allowance, the family tax benefit, will get the one-off payments from the 31st of March. It's hoped the payments will inject cash into the economy if the money is spent, and will help keep small and medium businesses running. So, do you think, pensioners, people on New Start, carers allowance, family tax benefits, do you think it'll go into the economy? I know I was talking to my mother, and she's a pensioner, and she's going to get the money, and she said she will spend it on her management levy for the complex she lives in. So she's already allocated that money. She's already allocated that money. What about you guys? If you're going to get it, what are your plans with it? What are your plans? Maybe put it aside for a tax bill, or invest it in some crypto, some people were saying in the comments, or some silver or gold. Or will you just use it to meet your day-to-day living expenses? Petrol, food. For $750, you get a fair bit of a beast. You could get at least a quarter, if not a half, of a beast. By that I mean a cow. You can get butchered, get all the bones, everything, freeze it. Actually, that's, and then you'll save that money because you'll be eating healthier for a good time. Think about that. If you want to learn more about that, look at the video Buying Beef in Bulk, available on HeiseSays. So it's hoped the payments will inject cash into the economy if the money is spent, and will help keep small and medium businesses running, which I've already read. But the issue with that is a few things. One is consumer confidence. It's very low. It's very low. And the other is business conditions and confidence are also very low. So the thing is, if people here have no other choice, or if they just realize, it's free money, so I'll spend it, that could be. That could be. A total of 3.6 million pensioners will receive the one-off payment, as well as 1.1 million on youth allowance and New Start, and 1.5 million other Australians, including veterans, and those on payments such as the farm household allowance and family tax benefit. Prime Minister Scott Morrison said the package would support cash flow, boost investment, and provide immediate demand stimulus to the Australian economy. This is the thing. They want to keep the economy chugging along. But everything we're hearing in the news is concerning. People are getting worried. I wonder, what do you reckon, guys, will be the next cash rate? Will we have another cut next month? Do you think they'll do that and then we'll hit QE? It'll be interesting to watch. We've taken the decision to put this stimulus in place that has the obvious impact on the budget outcome for 2019-20, he said. Australians know that this needs to be the priority, and our government agrees with that priority, and that's why we've taken the decision to put these measures in place. The Prime Minister said other measures, including supercharging the instant asset write-off, backing business investments with an accelerated depreciation scheme, and a cash flow boost for small and medium-sized employers. I was talking to a to a gentleman today, a fellow business person, and saying, oh, I mean, this is great. I would love to see this instant write-off changed permanently. Because, you know, you've got to buy equipment. If you could write off 150 grand, it's a lot easier. And he told me, oh, we always make sure everything's under 20 on the invoices, so they break things up. So, very least, that'll make that process somewhat easier so they can write it off. Because it's all to do with cash flow. You want to keep your money in your business. And it's probably better if people save up the money, pay something off straight away than leasing it or getting a loan to do it for businesses. It's a smarter way to do it. But often with our tax system, you're incentivized to borrow. About 690,000 businesses across Australia will be able to get grants for up to 25 grand. The government will also support employers to keep 117,000 apprentices in jobs over 9 months. Importantly, these measures do not extend beyond the 30th of June next year, and that means that gives the budget and the community the opportunity to bounce back shortly, Mr. Morrison said. Yes, I mean, that can change. That can change. Treasurer Josh Frydenberg said the package was worth $17.6 billion, $11 billion of which would be spent before the 30th of June. And I know some people in the comments are going, oh, these businesses, you know, getting all this money. They don't seem to understand that businesses are the ones that employ people. It's that simple. You know where that's all going to go? That's going to go on payroll. Majority of that will go on payroll. Guaranteed. Let me know, guys. If you're in business and you intend to apply for this grant, will you get it? What will you spend it on? Will you use it to keep the boys or your team a bit longer? Not to be sexist, but I'm just thinking of tradies or drafting staff. You know, will you want to keep your team together? Because that's the challenge. If you've got a good team and work slows down, you want to do everything you can to keep them. Everything you can to keep them. Particularly if you've spent time training up people. You've invested in them. But sometimes it's harder. Hopefully this will help businesses survive, but we'll see. I mean, what's going to turn it all around in 12 months' time? That's the question. It'll be interesting to see the election outcome in the States. Very interesting to see what effect that'll have on Australia. So importantly, $3 out of every $4 spent will go to backing business and keeping Australians in jobs, Mr. Frydenberg said. The PM will also address Australians tonight on 7:30 p.m. after delivering his stimulus package this morning. Some details of the package were revealed earlier and include that small businesses would get tax breaks and subsidies. About $6.7 billion over 4 years will be spent on helping small businesses keep running amid the outbreak, and $2.4 billion health package unveiled on Wednesday that includes the creation of 100 fever clinics. Now, there's some stuff happening in the news going around that potentially in Italy, they are no longer using the traditional triage process where those most at risk will get first treatment. Apparently, they're denying access to people over 60 years of age. And my mother was quite upset with that, and I said, well, there you go. Think about it. Those people have paid taxes their whole lives into the system, and now they're casting them aside because they're older and less useful. You know, remember, guys, this social contract, it's not really a contract, is it? When they can change the terms and conditions whenever they want. So, the package was larger than expected. Today's $17.6 billion package was much bigger than originally expected, and the payments of $750 were higher than earlier reports suggested. I wonder if they leaked it intentionally at $500 in order so people would be surprised. Oh, that's more than like 50% more. Fantastic. Do you think they did that? Do you think they were that smart to do that? Because the problem is this will always be compared with Rudd, with his $900. You know, we'll have to see. Oh, someone mentioned in the comments they still had their $900 from Rudd. You know, added the $750 to this, just start collecting all the government handouts. The government's package at $17.6 billion is larger than expected, reflecting the fast-moving nature of events, Ernst & Young chief economist Joe Masters said. Even with the stimulus package, she said a technical recession was still possible as the economy had almost certainly contracted in the March quarter, and it was unclear whether the second quarter would be impacted. Can you bet on the chances of a recession, guys? Let me know in the comments. Do one of the places take it? I don't think you get very good odds at the moment, though, but still. Well, I guess that's what doing the stock market is. I'm getting all these graphic glitches here. While many of the measures announced are automatic, so not slowed down by the need to fill out forms and lodge, it takes time for spending to feed through the economy, Mr. Masters said. The economy, though, should recover once the illness is contained and supply disruptions ease. The timing of that is highly uncertain. Yeah, I mean, this could be a few years in the making, guys. And it's interesting, we haven't really seen much on the property sector, have we? The economy will be supported by fiscal policy settings, low interest rates, and the lower Australian dollar. But much will depend on how households respond. Okay, the lower Australian dollar is going to be a hindrance in some regards, because all of our imports, which is the majority of the goods we consume and use, and a lot of our food now, will be more expensive. Even our petrol will be more expensive, although oil prices have plummeted. Our exports, which are coming from the quarry nation, will be also more attractive to foreigners, as well as Australia as an education and tourism destination. But that industry is in trouble due to the bushfires and now the global illness. The Australia Institute said the package was the right size, but the shape was wrong. The most effective form of stimulus makes up less than a quarter of the total package, the Institute senior economist Matt Grundoff said. The Prime Minister asserted $3 in every $4 of stimulus would go to business. It should be the other way around. Common sense and recent history tells us that businesses don't spend when their sales are falling. Well, but there will be social issues with it. I mean, honestly, how much of this 25 grand will perhaps just be used up in redundancy payments, in making sure staff get paid out their super if businesses shut down? What do you think about that? You know, all these rules and responsibilities that are shafted onto business, you know. The most effective part of the package is $750 to welfare recipients. We know people living on the brink spend any extra money they receive on essentials, and this will support demand in the economy. Mr. Grundoff said the instant asset write-off and accelerated depreciation measures will likely be undersubscribed because businesses would be reluctant to spend money if their sales were falling. True, but I would like that to be a systematic change to our tax legislation. Meanwhile, the Australian Council of Social Services welcomed the one-off payments, but still called on the government to urgently increase New Start by $95 a week. I wonder how this will work if people have a robo-debt. Will this go off the robo-debt first? I mean, maybe that alone might be a blessing for some of these people having to deal with that. The stress of that. The payment will be welcome short-term relief, but it's nowhere near enough, Cassandra Goldie said. Leading economists urged the government to increase New Start ongoing to build consumer confidence and to guarantee that the payments would be spent into the real economy. Will that work, though, guys? New Start, remember, it's only a temporary thing. But the problem is, if unemployment hits up, we're going to see a lot more people needing to use it. So I can see why they would be apprehensive to suddenly increase it permanently. Because if you have unemployment going up, you're going to get more people drawing upon it. So we know that increasing New Start by $95 a week ongoing would inject $4 billion into the economy a year and guarantee more than 12,000 jobs, helping to deliver the ongoing confidence business is crying out for. But then the problem is those 12,000 jobs will mean there'll be less people off New Start, which means that it will inject less money into the economy, which means it will reduce the number of jobs, which means there'll be more people on New Start, which means... So, it's a bit of a cyclical argument there. Ms. Goldie said some of the $750 payments will go to households that don't qualify for a pension because they have millions in superannuation assets. These households are less likely to spend than someone living on $40 a day, she said. ACOS is also backing calls for the ACTU for the government to guarantee at least 2 weeks leave for people prevented from working during the outbreak. While we welcome the waiver of some wait times for Social Security payments, such as sickness allowance, this is not the answer for people unable to work due to the illness, she said. Okay, but this is the thing, guys. You have sick leave. You can use it. If you're not in a position to have it, then people are paid a loading, and they should prepare for it. That's life. You know, this is the thing. We're in a... I guess, is it too much to expect people to set something aside for difficult times for 2 weeks? 2 weeks, guys. It's not a lot. Every time you go shopping, you buy a bit of extra food. You know? You buy a bit of extra toilet paper. You stick it in a box in the cupboard that's non-perishable. There you go. You got enough supplies stored for a while. That's not a big ask. But the problem is, we've all become... Well, we're so used to the modern conveniences of our civilization that anything that even slightly disrupts it, we start to see the real nature of people appear. So we also need to guarantee that all wait times and mutual obligation requirements for Social Security payments are waived during the outbreak. The government must also ensure that Centrelink is better resourced to handle the distribution of payments. Ms. Goldie said a missing gap in the package was investment in public infrastructure that could be quickly rolled out, particularly in social housing construction that would reduce homelessness and create jobs. See, that shows a lack of understanding of construction. Right there. You can't quickly roll out public infrastructure. That's not how it works. The danger is then we get the same disaster that happened with RUDS, Building Education Revolution. Guys, you know, everyone loves to talk it up. The Building Education Revolution. Boy, our education is really doing well since we had that education revolution in 2008, hasn't it? Yeah. And there are examples where projects were built, where perfectly good buildings were demolished and new ones were built at the same spot. Complete wastes of money. This is the thing. Sometimes just getting people moving around to keep it, you know, to give the illusion of doing something isn't worth it. Remember, government's in debt, guys. They're spending money they don't have. They're spending money that we will have to pay them one way or another in tax, or future generations will have to pay them one way or another in tax. So this isn't free money. Nothing's free when you talk about the state. They're not a charity. You're gonna owe them. You're gonna owe them, and they'll take it back from you. And then they'll take it back from you, and you could be like the poor Italians. They get cast aside when you're old, and they don't care about you anymore. So you got to be you don't trust them. So here are some of the measures of the stimulus package: keeping apprentices in jobs. Under the plan, the government will offer small businesses with fewer than 20 employees up to $21,000 per apprentice, $7,000 each quarter in wage assistance to retain existing apprentices and trainees. The subsidies are expected to reach around 117,000 apprentices and are worth about $1.3 billion. The cash injection will subsidise apprenticeship wages for up to 9 months with the aim of keeping them in a job. Now, this is a good idea. This is smart because you want to keep the people in the job. Hopefully, there'll still be enough work for them to do to actually earn their apprenticeship skills, because you don't want people to start off and then fall off or get cut, because frankly, apprentices aren't the most useful ones in the team. And then, you know, maybe it'll take such an emotional hit they may not get back into it. So handouts, anyway, I'm calling it handouts too in the click thingamajig thumbnail. Handouts and tax breaks for businesses. There'll be 2 measures to boost cash flow to small and medium-sized employers. Well, yeah, no, 25 grand, that is a handout. The first is a payment of up to $25,000 to businesses that employ people and have a turnover of up to $50 million. The payment will be delivered automatically through the tax system, so no new forms will be required. And these payments are tax-free, so they'll be delivered automatically. And these payments are tax-free. There you go. It's estimated the measure will cost $6.7 billion over 4 years, benefiting almost 700,000 businesses and 7.8 million workers. The second is a 50% wage subsidy for apprentices and training in businesses with less than 20 employees. The government will also spend $700 million over 4 years to expand the instant asset write-off. And this is my favorite thing here. I want our tax system to be simplified significantly, particularly for businesses, small businesses. The big ones, they've got all the perks, they've got all their super accountants, and they can just shovel money all around the world. And and I know people are saying, "Oh, look at these big businesses; they're not paying any tax." True, but look at how much money the government pisses away on programs that achieve nothing. So which is worse, guys? Which is worse? The people who shift their money around, or the people who steal it off the workers and the small businesses and then waste it? So the instant asset write-off threshold will also be raised from 30 grand to 150 grand. And access expanded to businesses with an annual turnover of 500 million. Any such purchases from now until 30th of June, including a truck, a tractor, a shop fit-out, can be written off immediately, Mr. Frydenberg said. You're not going to get much of a shop fit-out for 150 grand, to be honest. I guess you could buy maybe a bit of joinery, part of your fit-out. You get it done in separate receipts. Or you... that's the trick. That's one contractor, that's another contractor, that's another contractor. Boom, each one's 140 grand. No. There will also be a 50% accelerated depreciation deduction over and above what businesses can already deduct in the first year, and is available for 15 months to the 30th of June. So a boost for pensioners. Deeming rates used to calculate how much some pensioners are earning on their financial investment will be cut by 50 basis points. Both the lower and upper deeming rates will be reduced by 0.5%, benefiting around 900,000 Australians, including 560,000 aged pensioners, Mr. Frydenberg said. This will cost the government $600 million. Well, no, this will mean the government won't receive $600 million in revenue that they would otherwise have received. Or, no, it'll cost them that because they're paying the pension back, but then the pensioners have already paid into the system, so this is them cashing out of it. See, this is the thing. What's the pension going to be like for our generation and for the future generations coming forward? Is it even going to exist anymore? Are you expecting it to be there when you get that age? Or are you trying to build up enough wealth so you don't need to worry about it? In addition, about 2.4 million pensioners will get the one-off payment of $750. So $750 payments for those on benefit. The Morrison government's $750 cash payment will flow to people automatically from March 31st. About 6.5 million Australians will receive the payments, including those on New Start, disability support, carers allowance, youth allowance, veteran support payment, family tax benefit, and Commonwealth senior health card holders. The payments will be tax-free and will not count as income for Social Security, farm household allowance, and veteran payments. There will be one payment per eligible recipient. If a person qualifies for the one-off payment in multiple ways, they will only receive one payment. Oh, there you go. So you can't double dip. Damn. Payments will be from 31st of March on a progressive basis, with over 90% of payments expected to be made by mid-April. Here's the thing. I guess I'm just thinking from a retail spending perspective. If people are worried, are they going to go out? Are they going to go out? Households will receive a stimulus payment of $750 across the full gambit of those who receive all sorts of benefit payments, Mr. Morrison told reporters today. The biggest beneficiary of that will be pensioners. They comprise around half of those who receive those payments, but they will also be extended to those in family tax benefits, which obviously goes to those in earning households. The payments will cost the government $4.8 billion. And here we go, a boost for tourism and other impacted sectors. Now this is going to be interesting if it works, because tourism is a big employer, 60.8 billion of our GDP, but it's going to get hammered, guys. It's just going to get slammed because of international travel. Just look at the share price of Qantas. And I was reading today, a cruise line is just cutting all of their shipping, the cruise ships, or putting them all in dry dock. So what's your favorite travel business to short, guys? Let us know in the comments. A $1 billion fund led by the Minister for Trade, Tourism and Investment, Minister Simon Birmingham, will be established to provide targeted support to those most impacted by the outbreak, including those who rely heavily on Chinese markets, including the tourism industry and crayfish businesses. Now, here's the thing, guys. You've got to think about this. Would you invest your own money in these businesses? I know it sounds harsh, but would you? Because that's what the government is doing. It's investing our money in these businesses. Now, you'd want to keep them up and running because they're employers and probably help them out through a time. But it's going to be tough, isn't it? It's going to be tough. It's no different to the 25,000 to other businesses, guys. That'll keep them going. Because the problem is, once they detool, or once they close down, those businesses disappear. Getting one running up again is going to be difficult. But then again, that allows for innovation, that allows for new opportunities and new people to enter the market. But here's actually one of the most interesting things. You know, it will cover things like waiving marine park fees and national park fees in Kokoda and other places. Oh, sorry, in Kakadu and other places. So, you know, these businesses that give people tours, the government's charging them all these other fees. A fund is being established designed to target those areas and provide assistance that will most heavily be affected by the illness, Frydenberg said. It initially will be a $1 billion fund. This will include the waiver of certain fees and charges for tourism businesses operating in Commonwealth National Parks, the Great Barrier Marine Park, increasing domestic tourism promotion, and additional assistance through Austrade to address supply chain breakdowns. Well, we've seen that already, the issues with shipping, particularly the crayfish industry in Western Australia. Now, those industries became completely dependent on China in many ways, particularly crayfish. So they were making so much good money, you'd hope they would have put aside an emergency fund for these issues. But anyway, it comes down to this as well. I mean, here's the thing, because our civilization is so large, people are expecting the government to have the capacity to deal with this. But do people realize that we're going to be paying for this? All of us will be. Do they realize it'll come back, and it may not be us, it may be our children? And will we bounce back in 4 years, 5 years? As occurred with the bushfires, the ATO will also be providing relief for those significantly affected with deferral of various tax obligations by up to 4 months. And the surplus, well, the surplus is dead. Finance Minister Matthias Cormann has confirmed to ABC's RM Breakfast that the government's proposed surplus won't happen. People can do the maths. This is obviously not going to be a surplus in 2019-20. Treasury expects the virus will deduct 0.5 percentage points from Australia's growth figures in the March quarter, and experts say Australia could be headed for a recession. Well, yes. Treasurer Frydenberg said the package would put Australia in the strongest possible position to deal with the fallout. The government has worked hard over the last 6.5 years to return the budget to balance, so we have the flexibility to respond to the serious economic challenges posed by the illness. So the PM is calling for big business support. Meanwhile, Morrison has urged big business to support workers during the crisis or risk brand damage. I'd be encouraging employers to take a flexible and forward-leaning approach in supporting their employees during this process, he told reporters in Canberra on Wednesday. Frydenberg met with bank CEOs to discuss the impact of the illness on the economy. Australia's banking system is strong and well capitalised. Isn't it over-capitalised in housing? What happens when they start falling in value? I mean, everyone's seen what is going on in Italy, where they've just frozen all mortgage payments. Is that for the people paying the mortgages? Or is that for the banks? So the people who are paying their assets don't start defaulting. Let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Banks will also offer a range of assistance, from waiving fees and charges to interest-free periods, debt consolidation, and a deferral of scheduled loan payments. Hey, I'll take an interest-free period. It's not going to mean I won't stop paying. Opposition leader Anthony Albanese said Labor would support any necessary funding for the response. The cost of inaction will be far greater than the cost of action, he said. The ACTU has demanded the government legislate 2 weeks of paid leave for all workers to deal with the illness. And there we have it, guys. There we have it. So what do you think? Good stimulus? Bad? Do you support it? Are you concerned that we'll be paying for this in the future? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. But before we go, we will jump over here. And I thought we'd have a look at some of the comments that people have left on this article, because some people were saying they're interested in seeing them, because often, you know, they're the best part. The comments are always the best part. So here's Terry at CBD. All I want is a job, but at 60 almost, I can't even get past stage 1. So even though I would be considered a very experienced and knowledgeable person in my industry, I cannot get an interview anywhere for any position. Must have applied for a couple hundred now and almost ready to give up. After working for 44 years, this is a major problem. I do not know how our kids are supposed to survive. I'll be okay, but what a mess we are leaving behind. Well, this is the issue too, guys. It's with ageism, you know. In a few days, I'll be hitting 39. And then it's the big 40. And once you hit 40, you pretty much, your chances of getting employed drop significantly. Frankly, I think they dropped when I started expressing my opinions in public or in the office, particularly all the crazy woke rubbish in the modern work environment. But that's another problem I've got to deal with. So, how many rolls of toilet paper can I buy for $6.50? Oops, I mean $7.50. You beauty, mate, more toilet rolls. What about low-income healthcare card holders, ScoMo, that was stressed in the article? The PM wants us pensioners to spend $7.50 to boost the economy. You betcha. One cheap trip to China coming up. When did this country become such a woe is me, whinging about everything state? ScoMo could have given us each $1 million and someone would have complained they didn't get two. Yep. Australia's gone from being the lucky country to being the greedy me first, second, third, and anything left over for me again country. From Rosemary. The melter of snowflakes. Australia doesn't have 17 billion and the world is actually broke. I mean, it's funny money anyways. It doesn't matter. Ashley. So if we were to go into a lockdown, the people who get support are the ones who are already at home. Unemployed, stay-at-home parents and pensioners who still receive their current payments. The average middle class who work hard get stuck with nothing, but will lose all income in such a scenario. So, and, you know, okay, we're getting all the back and forth. I've decided to spend my $7.50 on a couple of legs of lamb, paying off 80 on my Visa credit card, donate a couple hundred to the CFMEU, and put the rest in the bank. Donating it to the union, I mean, that's just going to get pissed away then, isn't it? Okay. At least the legs of lamb are good. I'd put it all in lamb. Put it all in beef. Buy meat. That'd be my investment for this. You know? So guys, what do you think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Do you think people realize this isn't free money and we're all going to have to pay for it one day or another? Let's wait and see. Take care, guys. Thank you all for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and you'd like to help support us, there are a few ways you can. You can donate to the channel by joining us here on YouTube, get access to badges and emojis. You can do the same on Patreon for a small monthly fee. You take advantage of our affiliate links with Amazon or eBay for your consumer purchases, or those with Independent Reserve and Kucoin for crypto traders out there. We receive a small fee that you either would just, well, it doesn't cost you a cent, to be honest. We also have merch available from the HeiseSays website, see the pinned comment below, and also coffee mugs with the wage gap graph, favorite one here, available from Teespring down below. I've ordered a sample and I'll show that to you when it comes in. Finally, we have PayPal for those of you that want to support us that way. Thanks everyone, have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.